Hey guys, I'm Cupid. I have schizophrenia. So I did want to discuss. I know there's a lot of people who are probably dealing with this as well, maybe more than I think. But right now I'm dealing with fires in my area, not right on top of me, so I might be safe. But I am in California, and there are fires all around California, and I have them pretty close. They're not, like I said, right on top of me, so I should be safe, but they are close enough where the air has been very unhealthy. I know that there's fires in other places, Oregon, Washington, I don't know, I think it's one of those. Arizona, Nevada, I think those few. I'm not positive on that, but I know that there's a few other states that are also dealing with it. So yes, I just wanted to discuss that, and I hope that everybody is safe. I hope everyone is staying where they need to stay, I guess. So today I wanted to talk about people who have fully recovered and no longer need medications. I had someone actually request this topic, so I wanted to make sure I got this topic discussed. So let's get started. I know this is one of those topics that not a lot of people want to discuss because people don't think that recovery is possible. So I'm going to give you guys some really great information that is provided by people with PhDs who have done studies on people with schizophrenia. So these may help you guys change your perspective. I'm not saying that you can recover tomorrow without any medication and that you can just live your life like that. It takes time, and you have to get on a good regimen. You have to do the right things to treat your body the right way. So you do have to try to do things. Even if you're not taking medication, you need to do certain things, like taking care of your body. And when you take care of your body, that takes care of your brain. So just be aware of that. Maybe you might need some supplements, a different diet. Like eating crap is not good for your body. It's not good for your brain. You're not going to get better if you keep eating crap. Other things like that. So let's go on to discuss this topic. This rule suggests that about 25% of people with schizophrenia will recover completely from the first episode and go on to have no further problems in their life. A further 25% will be substantially improved with treatment and will go on to recover almost all their former level of functioning with very few relapse events. This is one study. Here is another study. Having such a high proportion be well functioning shows that schizophrenic patients have a greater potential to get well than previous research has shown, says Professor Anne-Carrie Torgelsbon at University of Oslo's Department of Psychology. She believes too much pessimism has been associated with this diagnosis. The results of this study give hope not only that patients and their relatives, but also provide inspiration for everyone who treats young people with psychotic disorders. So that is one study. Here's another study that I found that actually had a lot of great information, and they went to the college, graduated from the college that I plan to go to get my PhD. So I thought that was pretty amazing. I was kind of intrigued by that. It is a very holistic type of approach. Integrative, I guess, is really the best word for it. Integrative approach to psychology that they offer. So upon reading the statement in the preceding paragraph, which I did not provide, but here is the statement: people who have made full and lasting medication-free recoveries from schizophrenia. It's likely that many readers did a double take. Yes, you read this correctly. Contrary to this widespread myth about schizophrenia, the research is quite robust in showing us that not only is full medication-free recovery from schizophrenia possible, it's surprisingly common, and is actually the most common outcome in many situations, such as in many of the poorest countries of the world, such as India, Colombia, and Nigeria, and as a result of certain psychosocial interventions, such as the open dialogue approach used in Lapland, Finland. So here are some factors that they used in this study to help them to recover. So Hope and possibility of real recovery. All participants in all 3 of my research studies expressed that in order to even begin the journey towards real recovery, they first had to believe that such recovery is actually possible. And in order to do this, virtually all of them had to extract themselves from the intense hopelessness generated by the toxic and untrue belief that such recovery is not possible, a belief that they all reported was forced upon them, quite heavily handed in most cases, within the mental health treatment that they had received. So this is a guy with a PhD who actually does studies. I thought that was pretty amazing. I think I want to do studies when I graduate with my PhD. It would be awesome. All right, so factor 2, arriving at an understanding of their psychosis alternative to the brain disease theory. Every participant went through a process of developing a more hopeful understanding of their psychotic experiences, generally coming to their psychosis as a natural though very risky and haphazard process initiated by their psyche in an attempt to cope and or heal from a way of being in the world that was simply no longer sustainable for them. Factor 3, finding meaning. All participants expressed how important it was for them to connect with meaningful goals, activities that made their life worth living, that provided them with some motivation to greet each new day with open arms and to channel their energy productively. And they all expressed having to overcome significant inhibition to this factor coming from the mainstream treatment they had received, which typically included strong motivation, inhibiting drugs, antipsychotics in particular, and the advice to generally lay low and avoid stress at all costs. Factor number 4, connecting with their aliveness. All participants reported how important it was for them to connect more deeply with themselves, particularly with their feelings, needs, and sense of self-agency. And again, they all reported finding significant hindrance to this factor coming from the mainstream treatment they had received, both from the inner conflicts arising from the belief of having a diseased brain, as well as from the serious aliveness-dampening psychiatric drugs they were on. Number 5, dealing with their relationships. All participants expressed the importance of healing and or distancing themselves from unhealthy relationships and cultivating healthy ones. They all felt that unhealthy relationships played a significant role in their vulnerability to develop psychosis in the first place, and so this kind of work was extremely important. A number of them expressed gratitude to a therapist or friend who facilitated this work. I agree with that. Most of my episodes started after an unhealthy relationship, so that happens. So here's some great information in regards to this same exact, these 3 studies that this one guy with a PhD did, graduated from the same school I plan to go to. In spite of the widespread belief that one must remain on antipsychotics or similarly powerful psychotic drugs for the duration of one's life, the emerging recovery research reveals a very different picture. Not only have we discovered this in my own research, but the most recent longitudinal research conducted by the National Institute of Mental Health paints a very similar picture. This study essentially consists of following a number of people diagnosed with schizophrenia in a non-interfering manner, simply allowing them to go about their lives in their own way, and allowing them to choose what kind of treatment they wanted at the 15-year mark. What kind of treatment they wanted, and then, at the 15-year mark, it was found out that of those who chose to stop taking their psychiatric drugs, 44% were considered recovered, compared to only 5% of those who have remained compliant with these prescriptions. This is a difference of nearly 9-fold in favor of those who stopped taking their prescribed psychiatric drugs. The World Health Organization studies have also shown in so-called developing countries in which psychiatric drug use is quite rare, well over half of those diagnosed with schizophrenia have gone on to make full recoveries, compared to only about a third of those in the U.S. and other so-called developed countries where psychiatric drug use is much more common. Another piece of great information, Another major aspect of the Main Street treatment model that we find particularly problematic is the practice of trying to convince someone that they have a brain disease from which they will likely never recover. But the reality is that the brain disease hypothesis remains unsubstantiated, and that full and lasting recovery is quite common. We also find that the hopelessness so often generated by this belief often leads to a self-fulfilling prophecy. It appears to be very difficult to experience real recovery when you don't believe it's possible. Considering these points, then it's clear that we need to seriously reconsider the harm-benefit ratio of pushing these beliefs onto people, and even the ethical implications of continuing to do so. So here's another one done by someone else. So when someone recently asked this on Queer, the first answer they received was the typical perspective offered by our mental health system. It was stated that schizophrenia is a chronic biological illness and that no cure exists. The only hope offered was that many people with the illness can lead productive and fulfilling lives with the proper treatment. I believe that answer to be horribly wrong in two respects. So this is another guy with a degree. First, it contains assertions that not based on facts, and it suggests, for example, that schizophrenia is a real illness, definitely based on biological differences, and that people diagnosed with schizophrenia are only ever able to lead productive, fulfilling lives if they continue to receive the proper treatment. Second, since hope has been found to be one of the keys to recovery, and since this answer reduces any hope for full recovery, it functions as a kind of dark, self-fulfilling prophecy that impedes recovery. So, I offered the following answer. The answer to the question of whether anyone can fully recover from schizophrenia is clearly yes. While it's popular to say that schizophrenia is a biological illness, there is in fact no biological test for it. It is diagnosed when people talk and behave in certain ways for a period of time. And when researchers follow people who are diagnosed that way, they find that a great many of them no longer meet the criteria for the disorder when followed up later. Many of them have very successful lives. So that is the end of all of the research I was able to find. I think it was great. There was more information actually that I could have used, but I only have so much time. So there was a lot of information I found. Lots of great studies that were provided, and a lot of research involved with those studies. So I think that you guys, I think that it may seem impossible because no one wants to believe that it's possible, but it is possible. And in the right circumstances, the right situation you provide for yourself, you can recover. And I'm not saying, that it can happen overnight or anything like that. What I am saying is that it can happen. So if there's anything you guys would like me to discuss, I would love to hear your guys' ideas. I do have something else that I want to talk about tomorrow that is related to this topic in some ways. So I think that that'll be a great topic to discuss that may be of interest to some people. So anything else you guys want to say to me, please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your guys' whatever you guys your perspective. Sorry, can't think right. So I would love to hear your guys' perspective, what you guys think. So give me a comment. Like, share, all of that stuff. Have a great day, you guys. Stay beautiful, stay wonderful, stay amazing, stay awesome, stay unique, stay you, and above all else, you guys, love yourselves. Peace and love.